Here are 5 tips to make your Canvas course shine. I'm going to go through these tips first and then stick around because I will share a couple of examples from teachers' courses. Also, be sure to check out the handout with these steps and some how-to steps that will be available. Tip number 1 is to build a clear homepage. Homepages can look different whether you choose to have a more standard homepage, Bitmoji homepage, or modules homepage. The most important thing about your homepage, no matter which setup you choose, is that it needs to inform students where to find things in the course. All the content of your course does not need to be included on the homepage, but anything that is important should be accessible from your homepage through links. It's a good idea to ask yourself, what is important on this page and in this course? How will students and parents know how to access that information? It sounds simple, but one thing you can do is include text throughout your course, saying click here for whatever the item is. For example, click here for today's assignments, or click here to join the Google Meet, or click here to access last week's videos. Images are great to include on a homepage as well as within your course, but just because you know you can click on them doesn't mean your students will know that they can click on them. If you have a Bitmoji classroom homepage, for example, go ahead and give written instructions for where students should click so students know those expectations. After all, your course is likely one of 4 or 6 courses for each student, and each teacher sets up their course slightly differently. Speaking of images, they do make a page more inviting, but make sure your images each have a purpose and some sort of label if they are clickable links. I always said for my own classroom, cute has to count. Tip number 2 is to post a weekly agenda. Teachers who post weekly agendas with the entire week's assignments and expectations are finding the best results for students to turn in their work. It is important to make sure those weekly agendas are clearly labeled and within one click of the homepage, if not directly on the homepage itself, so students will always know where to find them. A weekly agenda should include dates, topics, assignments, quizzes, or any other expectations you have for students that week, all at a glance. I'll be sharing examples of this in a minute. You don't have to list the full assignment details here, but you should include links to assignments if they are not listed directly on the agenda. If you are using modules, include dates and topics in the module titles to accomplish this same effect. Tip number 3, aim to create OneStop pages for the day or the week. This may be part of your weekly agenda, and that's great. But if you set up separate pages for each day, that's great too. Just make sure everything students will need to access is linked within the page itself. We don't want them searching and getting lost within your course or outside of your course. If you have a Google Doc assignment, embed it using the Google Docs Cloud assignment, which makes students their own copies. If you have a Google Form or Google Slides presentation, or Nearpod or Edpuzzle or YouTube video, whatever it is, just about everything can actually be embedded within a Canvas page or module without students leaving Canvas through a link. If you would like a refresher on this, check the links in the handout. If you want students to take a quiz or complete a Canvas assignment, include links to those things on your daily page as well. The last thing to say about the best daily work pages is that they should include a link for students to return to the home page or weekly agenda or unit page, whatever that important home base is for your students. It's as simple as just including text that says, click here to return to the weekly agenda and link to that page. Tip number 4 is disable distractions in the navigation bar. By default, the course navigation bar includes just about every feature a student could access. You should disable anything from the navigation bar that would be distracting. Only keep what you want students to access and follow the directions in the handout if you need assistance. Be sure to consider how you want students to access things like assignments or quizzes. For example, if you only want them to use the modules for assignments or quizzes so you can monitor progress through the modules, remove those links from the navigation bar. It will not remove the assignments you created, it just means that students must access them through the path you have created for them. Often, being able to access them in multiple ways can cause confusion and has caused some problems from time to time within Canvas. The last tip, number 5, is to set your course apart. You can use an organized resource library. Ask yourself, if students need to reference something from a previous lesson, is there an easy place to find it rather than searching through the entire semester's content, going week by week or day by day to find that one video that they needed? You can build a page or module with copies or videos or files that students might want to reference as a study tool. You are not creating new content for this. Instead, you are simply making copies of what you already have done, so everything is, say, for one unit, all together for students. Those are my tips to make your Canvas course shine. Now, let's look at some teacher examples. This first example is from Caltate. I am going to spend a couple of minutes in her chemistry course to point out some of these best practices. First of all, you can tell that all of the images on her page are inviting, and they each serve a purpose. At the top, you can see that she has links here for important information that students can access here from her homepage, and it doesn't mean that all of the content is here on the homepage, just that they can access it. So for instance, when we click on the class information link, it takes us to a page with class information like her contact information, scheduling, Google Meet codes, syllabus information. All these things are here linked from the homepage. Next, she has hers set up by units within the semester. So you can see each completed unit has the check mark on it. As you scroll down, I can tell exactly where I need to click if I'm a student or a parent for this course because it says, click here. She is super fancy with this one. If you like this feature of having this video button, you can use canva.com. It's like Canvas, but no S at the end, canva.com, and you can make these interactive buttons. In addition, on this page, you'll notice everything here is just clean and simple. On the left side, for whatever reason, Canvas is being a little glitchy right now, and I don't have access here on the right to select to view as student view, but you can see she has disabled many of these different buttons on the navigation bar. So the only things that students can view whenever they are in this course is the periodic table, the modules, the badges, and the settings. So everything else she has disabled, so students will only be able to follow the path that she has created for accessing assignments and turning in work. All right, the next thing that I want to point out is whenever you click on the unit page, it takes us to the page for, in this case, gas laws. Some things that I really like about this is that she's very consistent throughout her course. Typically when there are directions, they are in pink or this magenta color, and they're nice and large. So this is, again, click the day's topics to assess the content. Students know exactly where to go. For this one, she has an entire unit here, which is fine. It doesn't have to be a weekly agenda. This one goes beyond that, and that's completely fine. So days are listed. The topics for each day are listed. What I like about this is that if students want to go back to access something in particular and they know exactly what it is, then it's here available for them. And assignments are listed. And she has a note that the links can be found within the day's page. So this is a homework assignment. This is a homework assignment. These things are posted through assignments in Canvas. However, to keep students on track and following her path, they cannot access it here And again, they cannot access assignments here on the side navigation bar. So instead, they have to go and click on their day's page. Another thing that I like about this page is that for this unit, she has that resource library that I talked about, where if students click here, it takes them to a page about PowerPoints for the gas laws. Here are all of her tutorial videos that she uses, and there might even be some additional in there, I'm not certain. And then there are practice links as well. So that's what I really like about this agenda page, just the organization of it, and that everything is visible, and I know exactly where to click, and I am not lost in having too many steps to follow. Lastly on this page, and I can't see it, oh, sorry, it's on the next part. I'll talk about that. So I'm going to click on this topic, and here is what her daily page looks like. What I like about this is that it is consistent every day. She has goals, what students will read, what they will watch, and their homework. All of these sections are clearly labeled. These are cute and kind of fancy. You can do it just as simply as having that text there, change the color and make it larger. Another thing that I appreciate about her course is that the instructions, the directions for each section are always this magenta color. They're always a little bit larger, so students know exactly where they need to be looking, what they need to be doing. In addition, when videos are included, it is best practice to keep your videos under 10 minutes if possible. So in this case, when Callie has videos that would last longer than 10 minutes, she breaks them into 2 videos at a natural stopping point. So this one is a little bit longer than 10 minutes, but it's fine. That's just something to shoot for. So the videos are linked here. Also, notice that they are embedded on this page. So students aren't clicking on a link to go somewhere else to watch these videos. Instead, it is here on her page and easy to access. For the assignments part, now this one, she does have on this, click here to access the homework. When students click on this, they go to the assignment page that we traditionally see for assignments, and that's fine. Again, this is how she wants students to access it. After they have completed all of these other things, they can tell that this is where they need to go next. The last thing that I want to point out on this course is down here at the bottom of her daily pages. If students click on this button, it returns them to that weekly agenda, or in this case, the unit agenda page. So that way students don't get lost in having to go back to the home page and re-navigate to things. They can access everything here at a click. I've got a couple more examples to share with you. This one is Chris Krautkramer's biology page. Going to give it a second to load. What you will notice about this one, she doesn't have, when it loads, she doesn't have a Bitmoji classroom per se, but she does have her Bitmoji here. She actually, if you will notice, her home page has an embedded Google slide presentation. So these are Google Slides from her Google Drive that are embedded on this page. One thing that I like about this especially is when I mentioned before, have instructions for where students need to click. You can see click here for the exam schedule, click here to take the notes, click here to go back to the home page, click here to go to the semester exam review resources. So all those instructions are very clear. Also, she has essentially her notes, or rather her agenda, are linked here. So whenever students click on one of these, it takes them to, in this case, this will take them to an ed puzzle, and it is embedded here as an assignment within her Canvas course. So notes are here. Everything that she needs is here. If I am a student, I absolutely follow this sequence. I like how it's numbered, and I know exactly what I need to do for that time period. Then each week, she will go in and she just replaces which slideshow is embedded here, and that's how that works. It doesn't take a brand new page every time, or you can create a new page each time. All right, the next things that I want to share, this is an example of Allison Berry's English course. And what I want to show you on this one is her weekly agenda. Now, remember, where I said before, everything practically can be embedded. Certainly, anything that is Google related can be embedded. So this is a Google Doc that has been embedded on this page. So it looks like the Google Doc. When she makes changes in the Google Doc, it makes them in real time here on her site. So she's not having to go back and forth and change things all over the place. It's just in the Google Doc. Now on this one, I just want to point out that she has her weekly agenda is here. Any important notes are at the top. She highlights, she uses color to show what is important. And I like on this one, she has it set up for Monday, Tuesday students, her Group A students, and Thursday, Friday students, her Group B students. The next course that I want to show you is Jason Sweeney's course. And so in this government course, he has a page set up in Canvas where you can see the agenda. He actually has 2 weeks at a time. I don't know if he does that all the time or if it's just for this particular week, but you can have multiple things. But what I like about this is notice the most recent is at the top. So students don't have to scroll to find this week's assignments. However, if they want to scroll to see previous weeks, it's there. With his agenda, it has the dates. It tells what is expected for each day. A couple of things to point out about this one that I really like. He has on the Google Docs Cloud Assignment. That's a feature within assignments. This is what it looks like whenever you embed a Google Doc. And when you use the Google Docs Cloud Assignment, it makes a copy for each student. Directions for how to do this are linked in the handout, but this is what it looks like. Just a note, if students click on this blue button, it will open up for them a new window, or I should say a new tab. And if they want a larger view, this is that student's very own copy of this document that they can work in. And then when they're complete in a student view, you will see a blue submit button here at the top. So it's not a matter of telling students to upload something that you have shared with them. Instead, Google Docs Cloud Assignment, it is all linked here. Also, in his course, he has a slides presentation embedded. Sometimes people have their slides presentations where you can still see all of the things around it as if you were in there editing that. This is a presentation of that slideshow. So students can just click and go through and they can see the slides, and it is all here within one page. You can still treat this as a page. There can be content below or above. And then lastly, the other thing that I want to make sure to point out that you can embed is a Google form, because lots of teachers still use Google Forms, which is fine. If that serves your purpose, then you keep using Google Forms. But you do not have to have a Google form set up for students to click on a link to go to the Google form. Instead, you can see here on a sample page that I have created in my Canvas course, you can embed an actual form on a Canvas page. So instead of having a link that students click to go somewhere else to open the Google form, it is here on the page. They scroll, they click submit once they have completed their answers, and that's all you have to do. So those are the features that I wanted to share with you. As you can see, there isn't just one right way to set up your course because courses and students have different needs. However, these 5 tips, along with seeing some stellar examples, should help you take your Canvas course to the next level. I recommend you pick 1 or 2 of these things that would help your course and go from there.